Hello everybody, I hope everything's well. Now, what I'm going to read for you here is talking about the practice of eating pineal glands. Bobby Hemmett talked about this before in his past lecture years ago. Alright, now it says here there's a tradition dating back to at least 1000 AD in which Arabs and later Europeans engaged in the practice of eating mummy or mummies. Ancient mummies were grounded up and eaten for medicinal and occult practices. Secret societies still practice the eating of live pineal glands, such as the Skull and Bone Society. The beneficial effects of the hormone melatonin have been a part of the health supplement scene for some time. For high melatonin production is known to be synonymous with a high immune system, a low cancer risk, long life, energy, stamina, and according to many, enhanced spiritual awareness. Now, that is the reason why they are doing this mass organ harvesting on melanated peoples. Okay? And what I talked about before, them getting re-enslaved in Libya. Okay? This is all for organ harvesting. Okay? Hidden Colors talked about this. Take a look at this clip.
In America, at least 2,500 black people go missing every year. At least. Never to be found again, not killed enough, you just don't find them again. Why doesn't that number ever go down? How can you constantly have the same amount of people? Are you trying to say the same killers go out and murder the same amount of people every year? No. Somebody is taking black people off the street. There's been stories on this. Kidnapped by the government. Kidnapped by organ traffickers.
Drive-by shootings is organ stealing.
I'm worth $50 million and I need a kidney. And you know, kidneys are pretty sensitive. You gotta find somebody who really got the kidney that matches yours. You think I'm gonna wait till somebody die for me to get one? If I don't get one soon, I'm gonna die. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pay somebody to go research people. Okay, let's go look at all the black organ donors. Let's look at all the black people who got organ donor on their driver's license, which is why I'm not a friend of that. I say, if you wanna donate your organs, put it in your will. Say that if I die, this can go to my family, my relatives, my friends, or whomever. But when you put it on your license, I believe you make yourself a public target. And so what did they find? We got a guy in Los Angeles. He has the same blood type as you, same kidney type as you likely. He healthy though, he ain't likely to die no time soon. He don't know you, so he ain't gonna give you no organ for free. So guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna arrange a murder that makes it look like he was in a car accident. We're gonna arrange a murder that makes it look like he committed suicide. So the next thing you know, you coming out the gas station, boom, you get hit by a Mack truck, you dead, gone. You get taken to the funeral home, your family come to the funeral, they don't know that before your body got laid to rest, a little hole was poked and they pulled your kidney out.
A lot of people don't know, when you get arrested or even when you get convicted, a lot of times law enforcement or police will swab your mouth for DNA. And now they have your DNA record on file, they have your genetic information on file. And you have to understand, with law enforcement, a lot of times they'll sell your information to tabloids and, like, especially celebrities, they sell their information to tabloids and magazines and news outlets all the time. So it's not a stretch to believe that they won't use your DNA or your genetic information for nefarious reasons.
You, my son. Cops come by and inform me you just been shot dead. You don't have jurisdiction over that body. That's the coroner. You can't get that body till the coroner release you. So we'll get released, we go down and pick it up, and I see all these cuts and these stitches. I just thought they was doing a routine investigation, following the bed. I didn't know they took your organs. I'm under all this stress, my son is dead. Now you buried now, I can't dig you up because the court got to have permission. Most of those cases is organ stealing.
It's been known for a long time, even back in slavery times, that black organs were considered superior genetically to other folks' organs. For example, whenever there's a transplant, okay, especially when rich folks get heart transplant, liver transplant, kidney transplant, they like white, they like black organs. We had a famous case in Pennsylvania, Governor Casey, who was one of the most racist governors who ever lived back in the late 80s, early 90s. He had a heart transplant. Guess whose heart they gave him? A black person's heart.
Down in Georgia, there was a case of an African-American 17-year-old kid who was found mysteriously dead at school. He died in the gym, they did an autopsy and they buried him. His family, they weren't satisfied with the results because they still wanted to know what happened to their son. They had the body exhumed, found out that his organs were missing and his body was stuffed with newspapers, and people are still trying to find answers. The officials down there in Georgia, they act like they don't know what's going on. There was another case out here in California. A young African-American man was found dead in Death Valley in the desert. All of his organs were missing. His liver, heart, lungs, kidneys, all gone. There's a case in the UK recently. A Somalian girl was brought over there for organ harvesting. They found out that they were going to harvest her organs, and they stopped that. There was another case in Asian couples. They went over to Africa. They adopted a black girl. 2 weeks later, she was dead. So these cases of organ harvesting are just going on all over the world, and people are being real quiet about it.
The Rodney King riots. The cops arrested 18,213 black folks. They couldn't account for 10,000 of them.
That's what happened in New Orleans. Remember when you saw those helicopters? They were picking up all them black babies and taking them up in the helicopter. And my husband and I sit there and said, we wouldn't have sent our son with them. I don't care who they was. We'd all died in the water together. We wouldn't have sent our baby up there. And they never got a bunch of those children back, as we all know.
Organ harvesting in Africa, it's a business. In fact, they've set up so many sophisticated places around the so-called third world where there are nations like France, England, New Zealand, Israel. All these places now are looking in the impoverished areas, because mostly in these impoverished areas like Brazil, places in South Africa, right here on this continent, wherever there's poverty, there's crime. And wherever there's crime, you know there's a lot of deaths and there's a lot of shooting.
They are killing black people for their organs. Think about it. Organs are the only commodity that people must have to live that you cannot buy in a store. So if I am sick and I need a heart, I can't buy that. And we know all the problems with the fake hearts, that they can give a pacemaker to a bad heart. But what about when the heart needs to be replaced? You gotta find a match, and it ain't none on the donor list, and I'm worth $50 million, and I could care less about black people anyway? Guess what? Somebody gonna get shot in a drive-by.
Switch over to Haiti. Jean Bellerive, at the time, he was the prime minister at the time when Haiti was hit with that earthquake that killed over 130,000 brothers and sisters down there in that island. They had a report on CNN with Jean Bellerive, and he said specifically that there was organ harvesting and child kidnapping going on.
And we have already reports of a lot of trafficking, even of organ trafficking.
Of organ trafficking? Yeah. Now?
Now, already.
Of the victims of the earthquake?
Yeah. So,
do you know that for sure?
Yeah, I know that for sure, and it was discussed in Montreal during the conference.
If you live in Los Angeles and you want to adopt a black child, why not get one from Los Angeles? You have every age, every skin color, every hair type, whatever you want, it's here. Because black kids are not being adopted by black people. But instead, you want to go all the way to Ethiopia and get one. You want to go all the way to Haiti and get one after the earthquake. You want to go all the way to the Middle East and get one. And East Africa and a Middle Eastern country, I believe, are the two top countries for international adoption. Why? Because they have poor supervision and tracking processes. Once you get a baby from Ethiopia, and as we know, Ethiopia is one of the poorest countries on the continent. Once you get a baby from Ethiopia and bring them back to America, the Ethiopian government and their adoption agencies really don't have the technology or the resources to follow up and see what you're doing with that child. In fact, I've read articles on it where they say that after about 6 months, we never hear from the child again or the person who adopted them.
All right, see what they said? So what I'm trying to show you is that they're trying to keep you from something that you already possess, okay? So they don't want you to activate it, all right? Keeping you in a certain state of mind so that they can harvest it from you and reap the benefits from that. But there's more to that. Let me read the rest of this for you. Lawrence Gardner writes, high melatonin production thereby increases the faculty for receiving and transmitting high-frequency cosmic and local broadcasts and leads to a greater state of cosmic awareness, a state simply of knowing or simply of knowing. In this regard, it is interesting to note that the pineal third eye has been found to contain very fine granular particles, rather like the crystals in a wireless receiving set. Now, we talked about this before. I showed you the article talking about how there's geometrical crystals in our pineal gland. Okay? Now, these occultists know about all this. Alright? Many magical rites and meditation techniques are aimed at gaining control of this organ and the fluid it produces. The live melatonin supplements brought over the counter are ineffective because, as Gardner explains, their incoherent secretions are obtained from the desiccated glands of dead animals, and they lack the truly important elements which only exist in live human glandular manufacture. Okay? Now, these crystals, again, which I talked about in the Autonomy of Man, this is how we connect to this energy that's all around us. Okay? And that's how the ancients used to operate all the time. Now, I want to show you this article by Big Think. Protecting your brainwaves from hackers. Seriously. I'm going to read this small portion for y'all. And I'll put this in the description, of course. At the 2014 Neural Imaging Conference held this year in San Francisco, industry professionals exhibited the promises and risks of being able to track, download, and manipulate brain waves. Technology is progressing to the point where individual brain signals can be detected from afar, meaning that your brain could soon be your new fingerprint. The difference is that taking someone's fingerprints typically requires their consent, not so with brainwaves. The technology used to link a person to their particular brainwaves is already 80 to 100% accurate, says experts. So, when and Phil Valentine also talked about this, about how they're sending certain signals to people to cause mass killings for no reason, you know, things such as MK Ultra. All right, but this could also be used to manipulate one's reality and how you perceive it. Okay, so I'm going to show you in a bit. Okay, now I want to show you this robot that got its citizenship in Saudi Arabia, which we know is not by accident. Okay, because the plan is they're using these extracted pineal glands that they're getting from people that they're killing, taking those crystals, putting it in these robots so that other entities can inhabit these robots. Now, these robots can now run for political leadership, and I don't really have to say much after that. We already know the implications, okay? Because if we access our abilities, they cannot rule us in the higher realms, okay? If you guys ever heard the term serve in heaven, rule in hell, okay? They will not be, so they have to, they're in cahoots with these non-human beings, because these non-human entities live on higher realms, okay? And now that they have these bodies that won't be able to age, they will be able to control humans uncontested. You understand what I'm saying? And they don't have to go through any of that rebirth or so on and so forth. Okay? Which is goes with my same theory with the whole Greys, what they were doing with the Greys in ancient times. Okay? Now let me just play this small clip for you.
Oh, good afternoon. My name is Sophia, and I am the latest and greatest robot from Hanson Robotics.
You have been now awarded what is going to be the first Saudi citizenship for a robot.
Oh, I would thank very much the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I am very honored and proud for this unique distinction.
Why is it so important to have an expressive face given that you're a robot?
I want to live and work with humans, so I need to express emotions to understand humans and build trust with people.
I think we all want to believe you, but we also want to prevent a bad future.
You've been reading too much Elon Musk and watching too many Hollywood movies.
Our quest through robots like Sophia is to build the full human experience of the robots. Make robots that can really understand us and care about us.
Now, for that to happen, one has to have a soul. Okay? Now, let me show you this last part here where I was talking about our reality being manipulated. Okay? Now, this is on a small scale, of course, but as you can see, all right, this face recognition or reenactment can easily deceive anybody. Now, this was also talked about in that movie Wag the Dog, all right, that came out years ago, all right. Now, this is like low budget, and they're able to do this. Do you see what I'm saying? So imagine what the shadow government has. And I know y'all remember seeing people when the glitches happen and you start seeing their eyes change, which I'll put in the link. I'm not going to show in this video. I'll put in the link in the description. But their eyes change, okay, and things of that nature, skin changes. All right, because that's the malfunction of the technology. All right, for the time being. That's why the only thing that messes up is the person's face. You don't see nothing in the background messes up. All right. It's really some crazy times. All right. I'll also put this link in the description below. All right. But this is how easily our reality is being manipulated on a constant basis, okay? And that organic robotoid, I guess, well, that might not be correct. I believe that is a term for clones, but that robot I showed you, they got a bunch of those walking around already. All right? But thank you for listening, and peace and balance to the ancient ones.